Hi everyone, my name is Zylene and I am the person here behind Zyplans on Instagram. I just wanted to give you guys an update on my Hobonichi Cousin and how I'm going to be using it for 2021 because it's changed quite a bit. So I'll give you a little bit of the background. I first started using this cousin in June of this year, so June 2020. This was mid-pandemic. And I had been burnt out on bullet journaling and I'd stopped bullet journaling for a while. But then I realized that all of my days were kind of just merging together and I didn't want that. So I tried to start planning and journaling again. And I bought the Hobonichi Cousin because I loved how it had the monthly, the weekly, and the daily spreads pretty much already done for you. I really loved the idea of that. So I started off with putting everything in this notebook because that's how I had treated my bullet journal. And so I had my to-do lists, I did memory keeping in here, I had gratitude journaling, but I kind of quickly learned that that wasn't effective. And for a while I went between an A6 Stalogy and a Pocket Excel, and I kind of moved my planning back in there. So all of the lists, financial stuff went in there, and all of the things that I wanted to archive, all of the memories, the good stuff, what happened during the days, and then my thoughts all went in here. And that worked for me for a while. I did eventually go out of the Pocket Excel and I leaned way more towards bound books because I realized that rings, I tend to drop rings when life gets really busy. So I've learned that about myself this year. And so in 2021, I am in all bound books. And I was ready to just switch from this Hobonichi Cousin to having an A6 for my journal because I did realize that I enjoy journaling more when I am not limited or held to a certain number of pages. So for example, a difficulty that I found in the Hobonichi Cousin was that I would feel really guilty for not, using up a whole page to journal for that day, or if I had skipped a couple of days for journaling, those blank pages kind of really bothered me. So I am just now sticking to a blank A6 Stalogy, but I've got a couple of other A6 notebooks that I will be using through 2021, and that is how I will journal. My planning has moved into this Hobonichi Weeks, largely influenced by Lindsay Scribbles. And I do my planning and board planning in the monthly pages, functional planning and habit tracking in the weekly pages, and then I use the notes pages in the Mega for very much like a bullet journal. And I thought that this was going to be my system for 2021 and I was ready to commit, but I had purchased a 2021 Cousin when the Hobonichi line was released in September. And so I was kind of feeling really guilty about the fact that I had this great notebook with great paper in it and it wasn't going to be used in 2021. And then life threw me a curveball. So this was going to be my complete lineup for 2021, and I had everything I needed it to be, right? I had a way to track my personal life and homeschooling my daughter. I had the journal, but then I actually ended up getting a job. I had been a stay-at-home mom for the past 4 years, and I wasn't looking for a job, but the right opportunity kind of fell in my lap and I couldn't say no. So then I was like, oh, okay, well, perfect. I will use a Hobonichi Cousin for work. but I also wasn't in love with the idea, just because I already knew that I didn't love the A5 size. It was too big, and with a leather cover, the way that I prefer to use my Hobonichi Cousin, it was going to be too big and bulky to either live on my desk or to go with me if I travel, because I am very lucky to be able to work from home, but be able to essentially work anywhere. And we are trying to purchase a home out of state. So I knew that whatever I would be planning work in would come with me wherever I went. And so I didn't know what to do. I'd seen people cut down this A5 to B6 size, but I have a B6 notebook, and I don't actually love the size. And so I did something else, and that is I cut down my Hobonichi Cousin to standard TN size. I was like folding pages in my 2020 Cousin, trying to figure out where the lines would cut off, and if it would be, functional for me. And it turns out that it is. So let me show you what ended up happening. First of all, I really love the fact that this says Hobotech. It just gives me the giggles when I see it. But what remains is, so you can see that months are cut off. When you cut it down to standard TN, you don't have to cut down any of the length, you just have to cut down a bit of the width. I cut it down to 4.25 inches. And what I liked is that the months, most of your, you really only lose Sunday and that blank space here, which I didn't mind because, again, this is going to be used for work. Again, you cut off Sunday and what I used for my habit trackers here. So it wasn't a loss because I knew that most of my work would be done Monday through Friday. And so Saturday and Sunday were not necessary for me, and this extra column was not necessary for me, so I was fine with that. And then this is what the daily pages looks like. And I knew that I wasn't going to use these daily pages as they were meant to be used, because I was just going to end up ignoring the dates, because again, I only work really Monday through Friday. And I have learned that I don't like dated notes pages. I don't like holding myself to those because it just stresses me out when I eventually have nothing to put there, or I have something to put there that takes up too much room. So I just had already decided to ignore this, so those weren't important to me. What I love about this is that this has cut down this notebook to a size that is easier for me to handle, retains all of the important views that I need. So for example, I'll take here, I do the bulk of my work from 8 to actually 3. So here, so all of my meeting and hourly tracking will mostly go in here. I do have a standing meeting with the CEO every Monday at 5:30. And so what that leaves me with is some great space here for daily priorities, and great space here for tasks that I want to get accomplished that day. And the one thing that I have learned heading back to work and being in for a couple of weeks is that I take a lot of notes during meetings. And I tend to scribble it all out as I am, taking in the information. And then I have to kind of process that information, and I rewrite those notes just kind of so that they're a little bit neater, so that I can kind of pick out details that I want to make sure I remember. So for example, I would be putting in, I had a meeting with somebody, I can put in questions that I make sure that I want to ask that are outstanding. I can put in you know, next steps and due dates and things like that here. But the beautiful thing about this being TN size is I can put it here in this. This is a Moterm cover. I do have another one coming that I will share with you later, but I can put this in this front slip pocket of this Moterm cover and it fits perfectly. And it also gives me the flexibility, and I love the added functionality that I can add in a notebook, which is essentially going to be like a scratch pad, and I can, you know, be as messy and brain dump as much as I want in here and have all of the processed important information that'll need to be archived and kept in here. And I also love that if I need to be traveling, and let's say I'm going to be doing work while I'm away, I can add in another notebook, another insert, and use that as my temporary like travel journal. And all I would need to travel with is this and my Hobonichi weeks. And this feels a lot better to me to travel with than having an A5, an A6, and I probably wouldn't have had a Hobonichi weeks, but like it just, this is a much more comfortable size for me, much more manageable size for me. If I were traveling, I could put in, you know, cards here and just keep it all together. But I love this and I love how it's turned out, and I think that cutting it down to a standard TN was this weird stroke of insanity for me that has turned out to be really functional. I mean, I'll keep you updated as I start using it, because the weekly layout for the Hobonichi Cousin starts this coming week. But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I am super excited, and I think it was a great solution, and I will share, I guess, what ends up working and not working in later videos. So look forward to that. If you guys have any questions, let me know and I will try to respond as quickly as possible. Hope you all are having a great day, and see you again soon.